"It's none of your damn business how I spend our money, you mangy mutt," my unemployed husband yelled when I asked him why he had paid for his mother's expensive trip to Dubai with my savings. Then I dialed one number, and he collapsed unconscious from horror. But before we continue, write in the comments which stories you love most, whether you subscribed to the channel and left a like. Enjoy listening. On the morning of October 27th, I woke up with a light heart. Outside, it was drizzling, but my mood was wonderful from yesterday. I had finally received a bonus for successfully completing a project, 100,000 rubles on top of my salary, which I planned to add to my savings for an apartment. With 400,000 already in my deposit, it was a decent sum for a down payment. Igor was still asleep, sprawled across the entire bed. My husband, 37 years old, once worked as a sales manager in a car dealership, but he was laid off 8 months ago and since then had been actively searching for a job. At least that's what he claimed. I have been working as a financial analyst in a large logistics company for 6 years. The salary is good, I like the work, the team is friendly. After university, I immediately joined this firm as an intern and gradually rose to senior specialist. Numbers, charts, market analysis, all of that is mine. I had a leisurely breakfast, scrolled through the news, and got ready for work. Igor woke up when I was already putting on my coat. "Sveta, maybe you don't go today." He stretched. "The weather is awful. Let's just stay home." "I have a report due before lunch," I replied. "And what are your plans?" "Yeah, I've got a couple of interviews lined up. One company called yesterday." This had been his stock phrase for months. Interviews, calls, meetings, but with no results. Still, I didn't pressure him. I understood that in our economic situation, finding a good job wasn't easy. At work, the day went as usual. I analyzed financial indicators, prepared forecasts, met with colleagues from other departments. Toward evening, I decided to stop by the bank. I wanted to transfer my bonus into the deposit account. And that's where the first unpleasant surprise awaited me. "Sorry," the operator girl said, looking at her monitor, "but there aren't enough funds in your deposit account to add to it." "What do you mean, not enough?" I didn't understand. There should be 400,000 there. "I'll check in detail." She clicked on the keyboard. The last operation was on October 24th. The entire sum was withdrawn through online banking. A chill ran through me. "Please show me the transaction details." The information popped up on the screen. October 24th, 1420. The entire amount of 407,000 rubles transferred to the current account of Igor Andreevich Melnikov, my husband. My hands trembled as I took the printout. October 24th was a Wednesday. I was at work. Igor was home. He had access to my online banking. I myself had given him the passwords when he helped me pay utility bills. I rode home as if in a fog. Thoughts swirled in my head, from the most innocent to the most terrible. Maybe something serious happened. Maybe he needed money for treatment. But why didn't he tell me? Igor met me at the door with a guilty look. "Lena, we need to talk," he said without meeting my eyes. "Yes, we do." I pulled out the bank statement, especially about where my 400,000 had gone. He paled when he saw the document. "Listen, it's not what you think." "And what do I think, Igor? That you stole or something like that?" He nervously rubbed the back of his head. "The thing is, Mom urgently needed money for treatment. Very urgently. My mother-in-law, Valentina Petrovna Melnikova, 58, formerly a Russian language and literature teacher. She retired 3 years ago by choice, saying she was tired of modern children and their parents. She lives alone in a 2-room apartment in the Southwest." "What treatment?" I asked. "What happened to her?" "She was diagnosed with a serious liver disease. Doctors said urgent therapy was needed and only abroad. In Russia, such treatment doesn't exist." "And where did she go for treatment for 400,000? "Dubai. There's a specialized clinic there that deals with exactly such cases." I silently listened to these explanations and felt irritation rising inside. Not because the money was spent on my mother-in-law's treatment, health is indeed more important than money, but because I was simply confronted with the fact. "Igor, why didn't you tell me? We're a family. We should make such decisions together." "You know, Mom, she's very proud. She didn't want you to think she was begging, and there was no time to think. Doctors said any delay could cost her life." "I see. And when did she fly out?" "Yesterday morning. The course of treatment is 2 weeks. I went into the room and sat on the couch. I needed to digest this information. On the one hand, Igor had acted wrongly, spending my money without consent. On the other hand, if it really was a matter of life and death. "Show me the documents," I said. "What documents?" "Doctor's note, referral for treatment, contract with the clinic, anything." Igor hesitated. "You understand? Mom took all the documents with her. She has to present them at the clinic. And the copies?" "Copies? Well, we didn't think about copies. It all happened so fast. That was the second red flag. Any normal person spending that kind of money on treatment would have left copies of the documents at home." "All right. Do you remember the clinic's name?" "It's Medical Center," Igor answered quickly. "A very famous clinic, specializing in liver diseases." I pulled out my phone and opened the browser. After a few minutes of searching, I found a clinic with that name. Indeed, a modern medical center in Dubai, advanced equipment, highly qualified doctors. But the specialization was completely different: plastic surgery and cosmetology. "Igor, this clinic does plastic surgery, not liver treatment." "Yeah." He peered at the phone. "Strange. Maybe I mixed up the name? Or maybe you're lying to me?" My tone hardened. Igor felt it and went on the offensive. "Lena, what's this paranoia? Mom is sick, she's being treated, and you're interrogating me like this." "Paranoia? My 400,000 are gone. You can't clearly explain where, and that's paranoia? I'm telling you, it's for Mom's treatment. At the clinic." Maybe I confused the name. "I don't remember exactly. Mom organized everything herself. We quarreled. For the first time in years of marriage. And we quarreled seriously." Igor was offended that I didn't trust him and his mother. I was offended that I was not. We were informed about such expenses. In the end, we went to bed, hardly speaking. But I couldn't sleep. I lay there thinking that something was not right. My intuition told me that the story of my mother-in-law's sudden illness was false. But why would Igor lie? And where then had the money gone? I got up early in the morning and decided to check things myself. I found the contacts of several large clinics in Dubai specializing in hepatology online. I wrote emails in English asking whether treatment was available in their clinic for a patient named Valentina Melnikova from Russia. Igor woke up when I was already getting ready for work. "Are you still angry?" he asked cautiously. "I'm not angry, Igor. I just want to understand what's going on." "Everything is fine. Mom is being treated and will soon return healthy." "Okay. Can I have her phone number in Dubai? I want to check how she's doing." "The number?" Igor hesitated again. "You see, she has a special routine there. The doctors don't recommend extra calls so she doesn't get nervous. She will call when she can." A third warning bell. A sick person in a foreign country always keeps in touch with relatives, especially if the relatives are paying for the treatment. At work, I put aside all my tasks and started researching medical tourism in the UAE. I found out the cost of treatment, accommodation conditions, and document requirements. The picture became interesting. First, for serious liver disease treatment in Dubai, prior consultation and examinations are required. No one takes patients just over the phone. Second, the cost of a 2-week treatment course in a good clinic is $50,000 to $100,000. 400,000 rubles is about $6,000 at the time, not even enough for diagnostics. Third, all reputable clinics require prepayment and a signed contract in advance. By noon, I received a reply from one Dubai clinic politely stating that no patient with that name had ever been treated there. I called Igor. "How's Mom?" "Fine. The course is going according to plan." "Did she call?" "She called in the morning. She said the doctors are satisfied with the results." "Which clinic exactly is she in?" "I told you, Emma's Medical Center." "Igor, that clinic does plastic surgery. I checked yesterday." "Then maybe it's a similar sounding name." "Okay. Give me the exact address. I want to send Mom flowers." Pause. "I don't have the address. Mom organized everything herself, remember? But you transferred money to her account. So you know where she is, Lena?" "What kind of interrogation is this?" "Mom is being treated. That's what matters." "What matters is that you've been lying to me for 2 days in a row." "I'm not lying." "Then explain how it's possible to complete a liver treatment course in Dubai for 400,000 rubles when the minimum cost is 50,000. Another pause. Longer this time. "How do you know?" "I checked. Unlike you, I'm not lying. Lena, let's talk at home. It's inconvenient over the phone." At home, a surprise awaited me. Igor sat in the kitchen, gloomy, preparing for a serious conversation. Next to him sat Valentina Petrovna herself. "Mom?" I exclaimed. "And what about the treatment in Dubai?" My mother-in-law looked wonderful, tanned, rested, in a new designer suit that was clearly expensive. A gold watch adorned her wrist, which I had never seen before. "Lena, sit down," she said softly. "I have something to tell you." I sat down, ready to listen. "You see, dear, I really went for treatment, but not for my liver, for my nervous system. I was diagnosed with serious mental health issues, depression, panic attacks, insomnia, and this is treated in Dubai. There's a wonderful psychotherapy and rehabilitation center there, very expensive but effective." I looked at her satisfied face, the new suit, and gold watch. "Valentina Petrovna, where is the doctor's certificate about your illness?" "Certificate?" She looked slightly confused. "Why do you need a certificate?" "Because my 400,000 rubles were spent on your treatment. I want to understand what exactly." "Lena, why like this?" Her voice had a hint of offense. "I wasn't treating myself. I wanted to not be a burden to you. I wanted to become a healthy and full-fledged grandmother for your future children." A familiar manipulation. Valentina Petrovna had always known how to deflect blame and induce guilt. "Show the documents from the clinic," I insisted. The documents stayed at the hotel. I forgot in the rush. And the name of the clinic? Dubai Wellness Resort. I opened my phone and found the center. It exists, but it's not a medical clinic. It's a luxury spa resort for wealthy tourists. Massages, wraps, yoga, meditation. No serious treatment. "Valentina Petrovna, it's a spa, not a clinic." "So what?" She shrugged. "Modern treatment methods vary. The main thing is the result. And the result is obvious. I feel great." Igor remained silent, staring at the floor. "Igor," I addressed my husband, "tell me honestly, did your mother go for treatment or vacation?" "Treatment, of course," he mumbled. "Just modern treatment methods differ from traditional ones." "I see. And these watches on Mom, are they part of treatment too?" "What watches?" Valentina Petrovna instinctively covered her wrist. "Gold watches you didn't have before." "Ah, these were given to me at the clinic for completing the treatment successfully." I laughed, not out of joy, but at the absurdity. "A spa gives gold watches for massages and wraps. Lena, why are you so angry?" Valentina Petrovna made a sad face. "I tried to improve my health so as not to be a burden to you. The new suit is also a gift." "Suit?" "I bought it in duty-free, very cheap." "How much?" "I don't remember exactly." "Look closely at the suit. The fabric quality, perfect tailoring, designer details. Such things cost at least 15,000-20,000 rubles." "Valentina Petrovna, can I see the receipt?" I threw it away. "Why keep it?" "Any photos from the trip?" "Photos?" She hesitated again. "They didn't allow photography there. Medical confidentiality, you know. Photography is forbidden in the spa." "This is not a spa. It's a serious medical facility." I pulled out my phone and opened the Dubai Wellness Resort website, showing my mother-in-law photos, luxurious rooms, pools, massage facilities, restaurants. "So this is your serious medical institution." Valentina Petrovna carefully studied the photos. "Yes, it looks very much like the place where I was treated." "This is the place. A 5-star resort for wealthy tourists." "So what? Modern medicine is developing. Treatment is becoming more comfortable." I realized it was impossible to convince her otherwise. My mother-in-law would stubbornly stick to her story, pretending not to understand and feeling offended. "Igor," I turned to my husband, "do you seriously think your mother went for treatment?" He raised his head and looked at me. There was guilt in his eyes, but he still said, "Of course, treatment. And what else? Vacationing on my money?" "Lena, that's enough." Igor raised his voice for the first time during the conversation. "Mom is sick, she needs help, and you're holding an inquisition." "Sick with what? Depression, panic attacks, or liver problems? Decide on the diagnosis already." "She has a complex illness," Valentina Petrovna intervened. "One thing leads to another." "I see. But why wasn't I asked before spending my money on this complex treatment?" "There was no time," Igor replied. "It had to be urgent. So urgent that they didn't even leave copies of the documents." "We didn't think you'd make such a scandal," snapped my mother-in-law. "Scandal? I just want to understand where my 400,000 went. For my treatment. Valentina Petrovna raised her voice. And if you care so little about your mother-in-law's health, you should just say so. A classic manipulation. Shift the blame to me, make me look greedy and heartless. I don't mind spending money on treatment, I calmly replied. I mind spending money on a vacation at a 5-star resort disguised as treatment. It was treatment, my mother-in-law yelled. Then show the medical documents. I forgot them at the hotel. Then call the clinic and ask them to send copies. Why should I justify myself to you? You spent my money. We all three were yelling. Igor tried to calm us down but failed. Valentina Petrovna acted offended and innocent. I demanded answers to simple questions. In the end, my mother-in-law left, slamming the door and saying, I never thought my son would marry such a greedy woman. Igor walked her to the entrance, and when he returned, he didn't even look at me. Satisfied? He asked. With what? Making Mom cry. A sick woman, and you interrogate her like a criminal? Igor, do you really believe this treatment story? Of course I believe. And you must believe me, even when you lie to my face. I'm not lying. Then tomorrow we go to the bank, and you show me exactly where the money was transferred. Igor hesitated. Why? Because I want to see the payment recipient. If the money really went to the clinic, it will show in the bank documents. Lena, what distrust is this? How can there be trust after lying? Fine, he unexpectedly agreed. Tomorrow morning we go to the bank. I was surprised by his compliance. Usually Igor avoided unpleasant conversations, but here he agreed immediately. I went to bed with a heavy heart. My intuition told me the story about my mother-in-law's treatment was a complete lie. But why lie? And what would happen at the bank tomorrow? I woke up to the alarm and found Igor was not home. On the kitchen table lay a note. Went early to an interview. See you tonight. No bank, no documents. Another deception. I realized that my husband and his mother were simply lying to me, but I still had to uncover the scale of this deception. After Igor disappeared in the morning, I decided to take matters into my own hands and investigate. If my husband didn't want to tell the truth, I would find out myself. First, I made a list of all medical centers in Dubai that could deal with liver or mental health treatment. There weren't many. Most UAE clinics specialize in plastic surgery, dentistry, and general therapy. I wrote emails in English to the 7 largest medical centers asking about patient Valentina Melnikova, specifying approximate dates of stay, and requesting confirmation of treatment. Meanwhile, I studied Igor's bank statements. I had access to his internet banking. We had opened a joint account for family budget convenience. The picture became clear. On October 24th at 14:20, he did transfer 407,000 rubles from my deposit, but by 14:45, this sum was transferred not to any Dubai clinic, but to Valentina Petrovna's card, a normal card-to-card transfer within the Russian banking system. So my mother-in-law received the money in cash in Moscow and did not pay for treatment in Dubai. It got even more interesting. That same day, Valentina Petrovna withdrew 300,000 in cash from the card, leaving 107,000 on the account. 2 days later, another 50,000, then 30,000, and so on in small amounts. I printed all the transactions and started analyzing. It turned out that during the 10 days she supposedly stayed in Dubai, my mother-in-law spent about 350,000 rubles. The rest remained on the card. But most importantly, no international transfers, no medical payments, no foreign currency transactions, just ordinary cash withdrawals from Moscow ATMs and purchases in Russian stores. Valentina Petrovna didn't go anywhere at all. At first, I couldn't believe my own eyes, double-checked dates, amounts, and transaction locations. Everything matched. Between October 24 and November 4th, my mother-in-law actively spent money in Moscow. She was treated in Dubai? Then where was she for those 10 days? And why the whole charade with tanning, the new suit, and gold watch? The answer came by noon. A friend of mine, Marina, sent me a message. Lena, I saw your mother-in-law yesterday at the shopping center on Arbat. She was buying expensive cosmetics, looked wonderful, and said she had just returned from vacation. Vacation? Not Dubai, but Turkey. And not treatment, but a holiday. I called Marina to get more details. It turned out they had met by chance in a cosmetics store. Valentina Petrovna was buying an expensive cream for 8,000 rubles and telling the saleswoman how wonderful her Turkish resort vacation was. Tanned, slimmed down, bought lots of beautiful things, and also bragged about new watches, Marina added. She said she bought them in duty-free for next to nothing. The picture became clear. Valentina Petrovna had indeed gone on vacation, but not to Dubai for treatment, but to Turkey for an ordinary tourist trip. She spent money on leisure, shopping, and entertainment, then staged a return from the clinic performance. But why such theatrics? Why not just honestly say she wanted a vacation? And most importantly, why is Igor involved in this deception? By evening, replies from 3 Dubai clinics arrived. All of them confirmed that no patient named Valentina Melnikova had ever been treated or consulted. Igor returned home around 9:01 p.m., looking guilty and avoiding my gaze. "How was the interview?" I asked. "Fine. They said they'd call back." "I see. Then why didn't we go to the bank as agreed?" "To the bank." He pretended to be surprised. "Ah, yes, sorry, I completely forgot. We'll go tomorrow for sure." "No need. I've already figured everything out myself." Igor sharply raised his head. "Figured out what?" I took out the printed bank statements and spread them on the table. "Your mother didn't go anywhere. She spent all the money in Moscow, and the Dubai treatment is completely fabricated." Igor silently studied the documents, his face growing paler by the second. "Moreover," I continued, "she went on vacation to Turkey. She met my friend in a store and told her about the holiday herself." "Maybe she meant—" "What do you mean? Turkey is not Dubai. A vacation is not treatment. Buying cosmetics for 8,000 rubles is not saving on medicine." Igor sat on the sofa and lowered his head. "Lena, listen." "No, you listen to me. You and your mother lied to me, stole my money and spent it on entertainment, and then pretended to be a sick woman in need of help." "We didn't steal." "And what is it called then? Taking someone else's money without permission and spending it on your own needs?" "Mom was really not feeling well. She needed rest." "Then why didn't you say honestly? Ask for money for a vacation. I would have considered it. But why the whole circus about treatment in Dubai?" Igor was silent, fiddling with the edge of a pillow. "Answer me," I raised my voice. "Because you wouldn't have given money for a vacation," he said quietly. "Why did you decide that? You're frugal, always counting every penny, and here's such a large sum." "Igor, I'm saving for our apartment, for our future, and you know it perfectly well." "I know. But Mom is a person too. She worked all her life, raised me alone. Doesn't she deserve a little rest?" "She does, but not at my expense and not by deception. Mom wanted to pay herself, but she didn't have that money. And I did. That's my savings for the apartment. We'll return it. We definitely will. When you've been without work for 8 months, I'll find a job, return it. But for now, my plans for the mortgage can be forgotten." Igor fell silent again. I realized the conversation had reached a dead end. He saw nothing wrong with deceiving me and spending my money. For him, taking from his wife and giving it to his mother was normal. The next day, Valentina Petrovna called. Her voice was weak and plaintive. "Lena, can I talk to you? I feel very bad." "What happened?" "After yesterday's conversation, I had an exacerbation. My blood pressure rose, my heart hurts. I'm afraid it will get really bad without another course of treatment." I smirked. Mother-in-law decided to play the sick and helpless card. "Valentina Petrovna, what exacerbation? You are healthy. How healthy? I have serious nervous system problems." "You have a conscience problem, not a nerve problem." "What do you mean?" "You didn't go anywhere for treatment. You went on vacation to Turkey on my money." Pause, then a weak voice. "Who told you such nonsense?" "Bank documents and your own chatter in the cosmetics store." Another slightly longer pause. "Lena, let's say I really was in Turkey, but that was also treatment. Climatotherapy, sea air, healing mud. I wasn't just walking around shopping centers and restaurants." "Valentina Petrovna, let's skip the games. You spent my money on leisure and entertainment. That's deception." "Deception?" Her voice became firm. "Don't I have the right to rest? I worked my whole life, raised a son alone, and now that I'm sick, I can't get treatment. You can, but with your own money and without deceiving anyone." "I don't have that kind of money. My pension is small, no savings." "That's not my problem." "Not your problem? I am your husband's mother. We are family. Family doesn't deceive each other." "We didn't deceive. We just didn't upset you with unnecessary details. Iron logic. Stealing for entertainment is not upsetting with unnecessary details. Fine, I said. Then I won't upset you with unnecessary details. I want my $400,000 back. Where would I get that kind of money? I don't know. But it's my money and I'll return it. Lena, be human. I'm sick. Sick with a guilty conscience. I really have health problems. Doctors recommend a repeat treatment course. There it is. The demand for more money. What doctors treated me in Turkey, I mean Dubai? Valentina Petrovna, stop lying. No one treated you in Dubai. You were treated and told to come in a month for maintenance therapy. And how much will it cost? Not very expensive. 1,300. Another 400,000 for the second course in a Turkish hotel. No, I replied briefly. What do you mean, no? You won't get any more money from me, but I could die without treatment. Go to the local clinic, free. Lena, how can you be so cruel? Easily, especially to those who deceive me. Fine, then I'll talk to my son. Igor won't abandon me. In the evening, Igor came home gloomier than a storm cloud. Mom called, she was crying, he said at the door. She's having an exacerbation. Exacerbation of greed? Lena, she's sick. Doctors say that without a repeat course of treatment, it could get worse. Which doctors? From a non-existent clinic in Dubai? Not all doctors work in clinics. There are private consultants. Show me a certificate from this consultant. What certificate? Any, prescription, conclusion, recommendations. Anything, as long as it has a doctor's stamp and signature. Mom has all that at home. Then let her bring it tomorrow. Why are you tormenting her? A sick woman and you demand documents. A sick woman doesn't buy cosmetics for 8,000 rubles and brag about a holiday in Turkey. She just wanted to look good so as not to upset us. She wanted to look good with my money. We agreed. I'll find a job and return everything. When will you find it? In 6 months, a year? I don't know, but I will. Meanwhile, your mother wants another 400,000 for maintenance therapy. Igor sat down on the couch and rubbed his face with his hands. Listen, maybe we should just give her the money. We'll take a loan. Are you crazy? Another 400,000 for a Turkish resort. No, for Dubai. For real treatment. Igor, wake up. There is no treatment. Your mother is as healthy as can be and just wants to live lavishly at someone else's expense. Don't you dare speak like that about my mother. How should I talk about her? She's a liar and a thief. Igor jumped up from the couch. Shut up. I won't. She stole my money. She didn't steal, she borrowed. Borrowed without permission means she stole. We are family. Families don't steal. They help each other. In a normal family, you ask before spending someone else's money. Your money? Igor smirked. And who pays for the apartment, utilities, groceries? What does that have to do with anything? While I also spend money on the family and don't demand reports from you. You spend on current expenses, and she spent my savings on entertainment, treatment, and vacation in Turkey. Fine. Let's say it's for vacation. Doesn't Mom deserve a rest? With her own money, yes. She doesn't have that kind of money. Then she shouldn't vacation in 5-star hotels. We had a final quarrel. Igor went to his mother and didn't come home that night. In the morning, he sent a message. I'm staying at Mom's. She's unwell. Needs care. I realized they had joined forces against me, putting on a show with a sick mother needing care and expensive treatment, while I played the role of the greedy, heartless wife. At work, I couldn't concentrate, thinking about what to do next. On one hand, I wanted to forget this and move on. On the other, I knew that if I stayed silent, they would deceive me even more boldly in the future. In the evening, Igor sent another message. They called an ambulance for Mom. Blood pressure 200/120. The doctor said she must urgently get treatment, or she could have a stroke. I didn't believe a word. If Valentina Petrovna really had a hypertensive crisis, she would have been hospitalized. They sent her home with recommendations to go to Dubai. I called Igor as if I were Mom. Bad, lying down, blood pressure not dropping. Which hospital did they take her to? Nowhere. The paramedic said she could be treated at home. With 200/120, she can only stay home if she refuses hospitalization. Understood. What medications did the doctor prescribe? Ordinary medicines for blood pressure. Do you remember the names? No, Mom wrote everything down herself. Where's the paramedic's report? What report? Paramedics always leave a report of the call and the care provided. They didn't? Igor, are you lying again? I'm not. Mom is really sick. Then show me the paramedics report. No report, no conversation. You have no heart at all, he said and hung up. The next day, I came to work and discovered my work email had been hacked. Someone tried to access corporate documents. The system administrator said the attempts came from my home computer. At home, I checked the browser history. Someone was searching for information about loans, microfinance conditions, and how to take money against an apartment. Igor was trying to find ways to get money for his mother, and even considered mortgaging our rented apartment. In the evening, he returned home looking guilty yet determined. We need to talk, he said. About what? About Mom. She needs money for treatment. If you don't give it, I'll get it myself. How? I'll take a loan. For what? You have no job. We'll register it in your name with your consent. Without my consent? With consent. Lena, understand Mom could die from what? From a non-existent disease, from real heart and blood pressure issues? Show me a doctor's certificate. There you go again. Show the certificate and I'll give the money for treatment. If I show it, it will be a lie. Igor hesitated, then said, Fine. Tomorrow Mom will bring all the certificates. I'll wait. But the next day, instead of certificates, I received a message from Valentina Petrovna. Lena, sorry. I accidentally threw the certificates away with the trash, mixed them up with unnecessary papers. But the doctor will come again tomorrow. You can talk to him yourself. Of course, the doctor did not come. Instead, Igor arrived with a new round of requests and reproaches. Mom is really bad. She doesn't eat, doesn't sleep. She says if there's no money for treatment, she'd rather die. Let her go to the local clinic. They don't know how to treat her disease. And in Turkey they do? In Dubai they do. Igor, enough. Your mother is healthy. She just wants another vacation at my expense. How do you know? Are you a doctor? You don't need to be a doctor to understand simple things. Sick people don't buy cosmetics for 8,000 rubles and brag about holidays. She wanted to cheer herself up. With my money. Lena, enough. Give money for treatment and that's it. No, then I'll find the money myself. Where? Borrow from friends? I didn't believe it. Igor didn't have friends with that kind of money. But a few days later, it turned out he really had found a way to get money. My computer was attacked again, this time attempting to access my bank accounts. The bank security blocked the cards and called me in for investigation. Someone had tried to take a loan in my name using forged documents. Fortunately, the security team noticed suspicious activity in time and blocked the transactions. Is this your husband? The bank employee asked, showing a printout from the surveillance camera. Igor was sitting in a microloan office with documents in his hands. Yes, him, I confirmed. He tried to take a loan against my salary, forging my workplace certificate and application without my knowledge. Apparently, we refused because the signature on the application didn't match the database. I felt a chill inside. My husband tried to take a loan in my name by forging documents. This was no longer a family dispute. It was real fraud. At home, I confronted Igor. At first, he denied it, then tried to justify himself. I wanted to get the money quickly and then return it, forging your signature. I didn't forge anything, I just signed for you. That's called document forgery. Lena, don't dramatize. We're family. There can't be forgery between us. Maybe there can be, very much so. Fine, sorry, I won't do it anymore. You won't do what? Forge documents or get money for Mom? I won't forge. And the money? Lena, she's really sick. Where's the doctor's certificate? Mom lost it. And where is the doctor who examined her? He's private, works unofficially. I see. A quack, in other words. Not a quack, just doesn't want to deal with bureaucracy. Igor, let's end this charade. Your mother is healthy. She doesn't need treatment. She just wants to live lavishly at my expense. That's not true. Then let her go to a regular hospital and get free treatment. They treat poorly there. Better poorly and free than well at someone else's expense. Mom has a right to quality treatment. With her own money, yes. We argued again. Igor went to his mother, and I sat at the computer studying family fraud laws. It turned out that attempting to take a loan in a spouse's name without consent, using forged documents, qualifies as fraud, even between husband and wife. The next day, Valentina Petrovna called, her voice tearful and plaintive. Lena, darling, I'm dying. From what? My heart is failing. The doctor said I won't last a month without urgent surgery. Which doctor? A cardiologist from the Bakulev Institute. I knew the institute, one of the best cardiology centers in the country. His surname? Kardashov, I think. Valentina Petrovna. There's no such doctor at Bakulev Institute. Maybe I'm mistaken? And where is the referral for surgery? What referral? From the doctor. If urgent surgery is needed, the doctor gives a referral to the hospital. At home, it's nothing. Bring it tomorrow. I can't tomorrow. I feel bad. Then send it with Igor. Igor got a job and can't be distracted. So much for that. He got a job but didn't tell me. What job? At a company, good salary promised. I see. So soon my $400,000 will be returned? The salary hasn't started. Probation is 3 months, another lie. I decided to act decisively. Through contacts at the tax office, I checked whether Igor was actually employed. There was no record of him. He either worked unofficially or not at all. Meanwhile, attempts to get money from me continued. Valentina Petrovna regularly called, complaining of worsening health, heart pain, blood pressure spikes, dizziness. Each time, more expensive examinations and procedures were required. Igor supported his mother's initiatives, telling how she cried at night, refused food, spoke of death. Emotional pressure mounted daily. I decided to end this charade once and for all, collecting all proof of their deception in one folder. Bank statements, social media posts of Valentina Petrovna boasting about vacation in Turkey, photos of her purchases, certificates from Dubai clinics showing no patient with that name, and invited them both for a serious conversation. Igor came reluctantly. Valentina Petrovna pretended weakness and illness, spreading documents across the table. Here are bank statements proving the money was spent in Moscow, not Dubai. Here are UAE clinic certificates showing no patient named Melnikova. Here are social media photos showing her vacation in Turkey. The mother paled at the documents. Igor nervously fiddled with the couch edge. And what does this all mean? Valentina Petrovna tried to protest. You deceived me. There was no treatment. Just entertainment and shopping with my money. Lena, how can you think that of your mother-in-law? Easily, when there's irrefutable evidence. Igor took the bank statements. Maybe there's a mistake? No mistake. All transactions are documented. Valentina Petrovna tried playing the pity card. Fine, let's say I really was in Turkey. But the doctor said I needed this climate, dry air, sea baths. Which doctor? Show a certificate. I lost the certificate. And in shopping centers too? Cosmetics for 8,000 rubles? Those were medical creams with hyaluronic acid. The mother got confused, talking about liver treatment, heart, nerves, then Dubai, then admitting Turkey. Igor tried to take control. Lena, even if mom was in Turkey, it's still treatment. She was really unwell. So unwell she bought gold watches for 15,000. How do you know the price? I found the exact model online. That's the price in Turkish stores. Maybe she wanted to treat herself. With my money, we'll return it. You've been unemployed for 8 months and now lying about employment. Igor blushed. I'm not lying. It's not officially processed because there's no job yet. I checked with tax contacts. Are you spying on me? Verify the information. You lie constantly. Valentina Petrovna changed tactics. Lena, okay, maybe not everything was as we said, but I really needed rest. You understand, at my age, health is fragile. Your health allows you to shop and buy expensive cosmetics. That was a necessity? I needed to look good for others with their money. Families should support each other. Families should be honest with each other. Igor got up and paced. Lena, enough of this interrogation. Mom went on vacation. So what? She deserved it. We'll find other money for the apartment. You have no job? I'll get a job and earn it. For now, forget my housing plans. Not forget, just postpone. For a year? 2? As long as it takes. I realized he felt no guilt at all. For him, it was normal to spend my money on entertaining his mother and to postpone our shared plans indefinitely. Igor, I want my 400,000 back right now. Where would I get that kind of money? I don't know, but it's my money. Lena, be realistic. Where will I get 400,000? From the same place you took it the first time, from my account. I didn't do it on purpose. On purpose? You knew the passwords to my online banking and used them without permission. We're family. Everything is shared in a family. If everything is shared, why didn't you ask me? Because you wouldn't have agreed. Correct? And I had every right not to. Valentina Petrovna tried to intervene. Lena, isn't it a shame to withhold money from a sick mother-in-law? I'm ashamed to spend money on a healthy mother-in-law who pretends to be sick. I'm not pretending. Then, go to a local clinic and get free treatment. They treat poorly. There. Then you're not so sick if you can. Shoes. The conversation hit a deadlock. They refused to admit the deception. I refused to accept theft. Then Valentina Petrovna came up with a new plan. Fine, Lena. If you won't help with treatment, at least help with housing. I need to move out. Why? The neighbors flooded my apartment. Repairs will take months. Where will you live? I thought maybe I could stay with you temporarily. There it was. The next stage of their plan. Move in and fully leech off us. No, I replied curtly. No, the mother-in-law protested. I am your husband's mother. So what? A family should help in hard times, not lie and steal. We didn't steal. You took money without permission. That's theft. Igor supported his mother. Lena, she really can't live in a flooded apartment. Let her rent another one. With what money? She has a small pension. From the remainder of my $400,000? That money was spent on treatment, on the vacation in Turkey. Fine, on the vacation. But the money is gone. Then let her sell gold watches and expensive suits. Valentina Petrovna pressed her hand to her chest. You want me to sell my only nice things? I want you to live within your means. I have no funds. Then live modestly. Lena, how can you be so cruel to an elderly person? Easily, especially to someone who deceives me. Igor got angry. Enough. Mom will stay with us, period. No, she won't. This is my home. It's a rented apartment on my money. I pay for utilities too. With what money? You have no job. I'll find work and pay. For now, I pay everything. Then I decide. Lena, I will not let you put my mother on the street, and I won't let you house a fraud in my home. Don't speak that way about my mother. I will speak the truth. Igor completely lost control. Shut up. I'm tired of listening to your accounting nonsense. Mom is sick, she needs help, and you're counting pennies. What pennies? 400,000 rubles. Big deal, 400,000, you'll earn more. Earn for what? These are my savings for the apartment. And Mom is more important than some apartment? Maybe to you, not to me. So you're selfish. So you're a mama's boy. Better a mama's boy than greedy. I felt rage boiling inside, but held back and said calmly, Igor, I'm asking one last time. Where is my 400,000? Spent on Mom's treatment, on the Turkey vacation. Fine, on the vacation. And so what? It's my money, not yours. Our money. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. We didn't steal, we took it. We took it without permission because we knew you wouldn't give it. And we were right. Then he completely lost control and yelled, It's your dog's business. Where I spend our money, you little mutt. Those words felt like a slap. Dog's business. That's what my husband called me for asking why he used my savings to pay for his mother's expensive trip to Dubai. I silently took out my phone and dialed a number. Who are you calling? Igor asked cautiously. Dad, why? I already heard the familiar voice. Dad, it's me. Can you come urgently? What happened, daughter? I need to teach my husband a lesson. He stole my money. I'm coming. Igor turned pale as chalk. Why did you call him? To have a man-to-man talk. Lena, don't. Let's handle it ourselves. Too late. When you called me a mutt, the time for talks was over. Valentina Petrovna also got worried. Who's your father? Mikhail Konstantinovich Rybnikov, regional prosecutor. The mother-in-law clutched her chest. Igor slumped on the couch. Lena, why did you call him? These are family matters. Theft is a criminal matter. What theft? We're family. Theft is theft, even between spouses. Lena, I didn't mean harm. Mom really needed a vacation at someone else's expense. Fine, a vacation. But she worked all her life. Let her vacation with her own money. She doesn't have such money. Then she shouldn't vacation in 5-star hotels. Igor got up and paced nervously. Lena, call your father back. I won't. I will return the money. I will definitely return it. When? In 8 months? You didn't find a job? I will. I swear. Too late to swear. Half an hour later, my father, Mikhail Konstantinovich Rybnikov, 61, a prosecutor with 30 years of experience, arrived. A short man with a very strong character and piercing gaze, I briefly explained the situation and showed the documents. My father silently examined the bank statements, clinic certificates, and social media photos. I understand, he said. Fraud on a particularly large scale. Igor shook. Mikhail Konstantinovich, it's a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? You took someone else's money without permission and spent it on entertainment. Not on entertainment, but on treatment. The Turkish resort helps with that too. Show me medical documents. They're at home. Go get them. It's too late now. Bring them first thing tomorrow. I expect proof of treatment, or I will open a criminal case. Valentina Petrovna tried to charm Mikhail Konstantinovich. Why such extremes? We're practically family. No family relation here. You deceived my daughter and stole her money. We didn't steal. We borrowed it without a receipt or permission. That's theft, and you will return it? When? As soon as possible. Meanwhile, my daughter remains without her apartment savings. She's young. She'll earn it back. Father looked at the mother-in-law in a way that made her shrink. By tomorrow afternoon, the money must be fully returned. 407,000 rubles. Where will we get such money? Igor stammered. That's your problem. If you don't return it, you'll go to court. Mikhail Konstantinovich, I have no job. Your wife does. That's where the money came from, so you can find a way to repay it. But where will I get 400,000? Take a loan secured by property or from acquaintances. I don't care where. The main thing is that tomorrow the money is in your daughter's account. Father stood and headed for the door. And if the money isn't there tomorrow, the day after you will be summoned for questioning. Both of you! After Father left, Igor collapsed onto the couch. His face was gray-green. Lena, what have you done? What I should have done earlier. Where will I get 400,000? From the same place you took it the first time. I can't withdraw from your account anymore. Correct. You can't. Valentina Petrovna sobbed on the couch. God, what will happen now? You will be held accountable for your actions. But I didn't think it would be so serious. Theft of 400,000 is very serious. Igor jumped up. Lena, help. Tell your father we agreed. We didn't agree. I will return the money. I swear. Tomorrow? Where will it come from? Your problem. Igor didn't sleep all night. He called people, discussed things, and was nervous. In the evening, he returned. My account had 407,000 rubles. Where did the money come from? I asked. I don't know, he answered grimly. From different people. At what interest? Various. I realized he had plunged into debt, probably taking several microloans at exorbitant interest rates. But that was no longer my problem. The next day, I filed for divorce. Igor tried to dissuade me, apologized, promised to change. But I had already made a final decision. Why? He asked. After all, I returned the money. Because you called me a mutt. I didn't mean it, I just snapped. You snapped because you think so? I don't think so. Otherwise, those words wouldn't come to mind. Lena, give me one more chance. I won't. Trust cannot be restored. Valentina Petrovna also tried to influence my decision. She came, cried, begged me not to destroy the family, promised never to interfere or ask for money again. Too late, I replied. You should have thought earlier. Lena, have mercy on your son. Have mercy on yourself. You raised a liar and a thief? He's not a thief. He just loves his mother so much he's willing to steal from his wife. We wanted to return it later, but meanwhile use someone else's money. The divorce went quickly and without problems. We had little property, no children, no claims against each other. Igor got his things. I stayed in the apartment. He came for the remaining items a month later, looking thin, nervous, with dark circles under his eyes. How are things? I asked politely. Bad, buried in loans. Still no job. And your mother? She lives with an aunt in the region. She says it's hard in Moscow after everything that happened. I see, Lena. And we will never be able to trust again? Never, even if I forgive everything. Trust is not restored. Igor, you deceived me, stole my money, and called me a mutt. That is unforgivable. I didn't mean it. You did. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said it. He packed and left. We never met again. A year has passed. I live alone in the same rented apartment, work at the same job, and now save for my own home. Sometimes I think I could forgive my husband and give him another chance. Then I remember his words. Not your dog's business. Where I spend our money, you little mutt. And I realize I made the right choice. A person who can say that to his wife will never change. He will lie, steal, and hoard again and again, and I deserve more. Sometimes acquaintances ask if I regret the divorce. I answer honestly no. It's better to be alone with self-respect than live with someone who doesn't respect you. Valentina Petrovna called a few times, asking to meet and talk, but I refused. There was nothing to explain. Everything was explained by bank statements and her own words. Igor sometimes sent messages claiming he found a job, changed, realized his mistakes. I don't reply. The train has left. A year was enough to understand. I made the right choice. Money can be earned again, a home bought later, but self-respect once lost cannot be restored. Now I know the value of trust and that not everyone deserves it, even the closest people, especially the closest. This story taught me the most important lesson. No one has the right to use your money without permission. Even a husband, even a mother-in-law, even under the guise of illness or urgent help. And if someone calls you a mutt for defending your rights, that person must be removed from your life, forever. I did it, and I regret nothing.